Why do fuses blow? Lwaki fuses emotoka zikuba buli kaseera? So there are issues where you have a cupboard. Every time you install something, every time you add lights, you add ABCD, fuses blow. What causes this? And what formula do car manufacturers use to get the actual rating for the fuse to be used on device A, device Y, and so on? And what can you do to prevent fuses from blowing out on your vehicle? So manufacturers use what we call power rating to determine fuse, to determine the amount of current to pass through a given fuse. So here I have a simple circuit, and the simple circuit is for fog lights. It has a battery, a fuse, a relay that switches to the fog lights. So in order to determine the fuse rating or the current that must pass through this fuse, I'm going to use the formula current equals to power over voltage. This is the same as IV over V. So it's all current. I'm going to get the total power, which is 35 and 35, which is 70. So our current rating will be 70 over. So let's say this is a 12 volts car over 12, which will essentially be 5.8 amperes. So this is like the current, the actual current that is passing through this circuit. But when they're manufacturing fuses, there are other factors that are taken into consideration. You know, like temperature, environmental factors, current surges, and so on. So for this issue, they introduced what we call, it's like a safety margin. And the safety margin is usually 25 or 30% increment on the actual current in the circuit. So that means we are going to increase this current by 30%. So I'm going to say current is 5.8 times 1.3, which is essentially 7.6 amperes. So this is the current that must pass through the fuse. But when they are manufacturing fuses, they use an ISO standard called ISO 8820. This is a standard that guides manufacturers to manufacture different fuses for the cars, and they have what we call fuse ratings, and these fuse ratings are standard, 5, 7.5, 10, and so on. So if you get a value of 7.6, you round off to the nearest standard value, and in this case it will be 10. So meaning that we will manufacture a fuse that is 10 amperes and we install it in our circuit here. So why do fuses blow? First of all, fuses blow because people usually intrude circuits and introduce loads that increase the power in this circuit. Let's say you introduced a new light here. Maybe it's an exterior light. This one is 40 watts. So you essentially increased the power in the circuit. And from our formula here, if you increase the power on this 12 volts car, you are going to increase the current output. So meaning that you are going to get a value that is higher than 7.6 or higher than 10, and it will essentially blow the fuse, because when a current which has a higher value passes through a fuse with a lower value, the fuse will essentially blow to protect the circuit. So that is why fuses usually blow.